What if I told you that the memory you are most ashamed of, the one you replay at 2 a.m., never actually happened the way you think it did? Not because you're lying, not because you're broken, but because your brain literally rewrote it, edited it, quietly swapped out details while you slept, and filed a different version back into your head as truth. And here's the part that should stop you cold. The more painful the memory, the more your brain edits it. So the story you've been telling yourself for years about who you are, what you deserve, why things never work out for you, that story is built on evidence that your own mind fabricated. Stay with me, because in the next 10 minutes, you are going to understand exactly how this happens. Why neuroscience says it keeps you trapped in patterns you can't seem to break. And, most importantly, the specific way you can actually use this to your advantage. Here's the science, and I promise it's wilder than you expect. For most of the 20th century, scientists believed memories were like photographs. Once developed, they stayed fixed. A memory formed, got stored, and that was that. Permanent, stable. Then in 2000, a neuroscientist named Karim Nader ran an experiment on rats. He activated a fearful memory in a rat's brain, then immediately injected a drug that blocked the brain's ability to rebuild proteins that memories require to stay intact. The result? The memory was gone, not suppressed, erased. This broke neuroscience wide open. It revealed something we now call memory reconsolidation. Every single time you recall a memory, that memory becomes temporarily unstable. It's like a file that gets unlocked, briefly editable, and then saved again. And when it gets saved, it absorbs the emotional state you're in right now, the thoughts you're having, the mood you're carrying. It becomes a blend of the past and the present. This means your memories are not recordings of what happened. They are reconstructions, rebuilt every time you access them, subtly shaped by who you are today. Keep that in your head. We're going to come back to it, because it's the key to everything. So why does this keep people stuck? Here's where it gets personal. Imagine you're 8 years old and you try something in front of your class. A presentation, a song, a joke that lands wrong. You feel embarrassed. Your nervous system flags that moment as dangerous. Because for children, rejection from the group is a survival threat. The brain stores it with urgency. Fast forward. You're an adult. You get invited to speak at a meeting. Your body floods with anxiety before you can even think. You don't know why. You just feel like you're bad at this. You pull back. You stay small. That's the memory doing its job, or what it thinks is its job. But here's the cruel twist. Every time that anxious memory fires, every time you revisit the embarrassment, the failure, the shame, you reconsolidate it in your current state of anxiety. You're not replaying the past. You're reinforcing it, amplifying it, teaching your brain over and over that the threat is real. Psychologists call this a self-confirming feedback loop. The memory shapes your behavior. Your behavior creates experiences that confirm the memory. And with each recall, the emotional charge doesn't fade. It compounds. This is why people who've experienced trauma often feel like the past is still happening. It literally is. In neurological terms, the memory is alive and being rebuilt constantly. And every rebuild without intervention makes the emotional weight heavier. Here's a question I want you to sit with. What is one belief you have about yourself that you've always known was true? And when exactly did you first decide that? Because I'll bet the moment you land on, the formative memory, isn't what you think it is. Let's get specific. Research identifies 3 main ways your brain rewrites memories, and all 3 are working against you in ways you've probably never noticed. Number 1, emotional coloring. Your brain doesn't store facts, it stores feelings. Details that didn't carry emotional weight get dropped. Details that did get amplified. So when you remember an argument with a parent, a failed relationship, a job you lost, the memory isn't balanced. It's a highlight reel of pain, edited for maximum emotional impact. The neutral moments? Gone. Number 2, narrative smoothing. Your brain is a storyteller. It cannot tolerate gaps, contradictions, or randomness. So when pieces of a memory are missing, which they always are, the brain fills them in. Not randomly. It fills them in with whatever fits the story you already believe about yourself. If your story is, "I always mess things up," the brain finds details that confirm it and quietly deletes the ones that don't. Number 3, source confusion. This is the strangest one. The brain often cannot distinguish between something you experienced, something you imagined, and something you were told. Repeatedly hearing a family story about something you did as a child can create a vivid memory of an event you don't actually remember at all. The feeling of certainty, that solid sense that, yes, I remember this clearly, has almost no relationship to accuracy. Elizabeth Loftus, one of the most important memory researchers alive, has spent decades proving that memories can be entirely fabricated with minimal suggestion. In one famous study, researchers implanted a false childhood memory of being lost in a mall in over 25% of participants. Those people didn't just vaguely accept it. They remembered it. They added details. They felt the emotions of it. Your memories, the ones you'd stake your identity on, are not immune to this. Now here's where I want to flip everything, because this isn't just a reason to distrust your memories. It is, if you understand it, one of the most powerful psychological tools you have access to. Remember reconsolidation? The fact that every time you recall a memory, it briefly becomes editable? Therapists and researchers are now using this deliberately. Techniques like EMDR, certain approaches in trauma-focused CBT, and newer memory reconsolidation protocols work precisely because of this mechanism. They help you access a painful memory in a controlled emotional state, a state of safety, not anxiety, and allow the brain to resave that memory with a different emotional signature. Not erasing what happened, but changing the meaning your nervous system attached to it. In other words, the same bug that keeps you trapped is also the feature that sets you free. And you don't need a therapist to start this process. Research on expressive writing by James Pennebaker at UT Austin shows that writing about difficult memories in a structured, emotionally processed way actually changes how the brain represents those memories over time. Not overnight, but measurably, neurologically. The brain that kept rewriting your past in ways that hurt you, that same brain can be guided to rewrite in ways that free you. So the question is not, are my memories accurate? They're not. They never were. Nobody's are. The real question is, who is doing the editing? And is it happening on purpose? At the start of this video, I said, your memories might be the biggest lie your brain ever told you. I want to be precise about what that actually means. It doesn't mean your pain wasn't real. It was. It doesn't mean your experiences didn't shape you. They did. It means the story you built on top of those experiences, the conclusions your nervous system drew, the identity it assembled from that evidence, that is far more flexible than you've been led to believe. The past is not as fixed as it feels, and neither are you. If this landed for you, there's one thing I'd ask you to try before tomorrow. Write down one memory that you feel is central to your identity, good or bad. Then write 3 ways that memory could be interpreted differently, not to dismiss it, just to see how many versions of it are possible. That simple act is the beginning of editing on purpose. Hit subscribe if you want to go deeper on the neuroscience of behavior change. Next week, we're going inside the default mode network and why your brain is literally most active when you think you're doing nothing. That one will rearrange some furniture in your head. I'll see you there.